Hey everybody, and welcome to today's News Tonight, the weeknight news show where we're joined by special guests and our lovely patrons to discuss the day's gaming news. I'm your host, Ash Paulson, and today I'm joined by Derek Bittner, Steve Bowling, and our very special guest, Scott the Woz. So, let's see what's on the docket tonight. But before we get to all the news, we actually have a sponsor for this episode. We read our sponsors out every Monday episode, and of course, that sponsor is Game Explain, and they haven't sent us any updated copy yet, so we're just going to go with the copy they sent us for the first week, which was, wishing you guys the best of luck on your new adventure from all of us at Game Explain. Stunt Race FX forever. So thank you again, Game Explain, and specifically Andre. We know that comes straight from you, and we appreciate the support and the well wishes. But Scott the Woz, man, this is my first time talking to you personally. Thank you so much for joining us. How's it going, man?
It's going all right. You know, it's been a bit of a busy. It's a bit of a busy time for everybody. I don't really know anybody who's specifically like, I got nothing going on right now.
Yeah.
So it's like.
True.
It's a bit busy, so I'm tired, but it's a pleasure to meet you and Steve for the first time. Derek, I'm familiar with. I've talked to a few times, as in I did my panel at Too Many Games, and I saw him in the audience. I was just like, that's Derek, and then
that's amazing that you actually recognize it, because I did
Derek.
not show my face much at that point, and it was just sort of like, I'll make an appearance here and there. But I remember that panel. You packed the house. Two, unsurprisingly. Two, I think you're having video troubles, so you were constantly restarting the video, and it was just a constant thing of, hey all, Scott here. Hey all, Scott here.
Yeah.
I think I got the opening pretty well set.
Yeah, that was a fun panel though. I brought trophies for people. As in, I was like, what was it? Like, I whatever questions somebody asked me, I would have been like, okay, let's see if that qualifies for the like Get Out award or something like that. And I was worried about bringing the trophies to the TSA, but they went through surprisingly, so I'm happy about that.
That's good.
But yeah, that was a fun time. That was my first and only convention I ever went to. So, it's fun to cap it off there.
Yeah.
And never go to a convention ever again.
I mean, TMG was the only place I've actually held a panel. Just didn't do it. I did it one year and then didn't do it since, and it was fine. It was a good time, but I don't know. I just didn't do the effort to try to do a panel again. It was just like, I want to hang out with friends.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of work.
Yeah,
it's a lot of work. I wanted to do a game show this year. If it went through, I wanted to do like a big old like the Wizard reenactment kind of thing.
That'd be awesome.
That didn't turn out. So
panels really are a lot of work. Although it does make me think about how fun it could be, and the possibilities for GVG's first convention. Whenever that happens again, whenever we can venture outside into the world again, it'll be fun to go to our first show as a team, guys. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
What's your favorite convention to go to personally? Like, what do you think would be the best introductory con for GVG?
Well, my favorite convention to work and cover is PAX West, or PAX Prime, PAX West. But my favorite show to do, like my favorite vacation show is MagFest. But I don't think that would be a great one for us to cover since there's not a lot of news there. But MagFest is like my personal party for 4 days, just like go nuts, balls to the wall, and party it up for 4 days. But I think PAX West personally would be my choice, and it seems possible. Next September maybe we'll be immunized, possibly, maybe, hopefully. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't have high hopes for PAX East, that's for sure.
I don't know. PAX East, I think, is a wash for next year. I don't think it's going to happen.
I personally like covering E3. Like, it's fucking chaotic and ridiculous, and but I don't know. There's something like fun about just the vibe of E3. Like going to it, it's the show that everyone equates with like the biggest in the game industry. It definitely isn't the friendliest show to be at. Like you're shoulder to shoulder with people the whole time. The floor is chaos, but it's something about like it's not the moments that you're at the show that are the most fun. It's the moments like after you're done for the day. Like you go back, you record whatever you need to record, and then you just kick back, and something about that moment when you're done for the day at E3 feels so much better than any other convention. And just because I think it also has a lot to do with the fact that, the different PAXs draw different groups of industry people, whereas everybody converges on E3. So
sure,
whoever in the industry, whoever you're friends with, there's a really good chance that they're there.
So I was kind of burned out on E3 at this point for obvious reasons.
Well, you've been in the damn staff room for 8 years.
Yeah,
so. It's been a bit different for you. You've been locked in the news in the media room for every E3 essentially.
So I'd be kind of curious to cover
E3.
The
media room at least once. I want to go to E3 at least once before it withers away.
We got to get you. We got to get you on there. We'll just get you like, yeah, he's part of GVG. It's fine. Get him in here.
Yeah, just let us know if you want Scott to cover E3 for us. I'm sure
I mainly just want to film footage of me like with a microphone in front of booths and stuff talking, but the microphone isn't plugged in or anything. I don't even care about playing the demos.
Dude, I will
even care about that.
Totally help you put those up. We'll throw segments of our E3 wrap ups to you, like about the most important stories, and just have your audio off.
Yeah. You just hear like this giant white noise or just these crowd noises, and you just see my lips moving. And I also want to see how overpriced the food courts are.
Oh, they're bad. They're bad.
Oh, they're awful.
Spend $20 on fries.
Really bad.
Yeah.
You will.
Plus, you get a free side of doxing now. They dox you for free after you pay out the nose for. That's kind of what soured me on E3 was getting doxed by the ESA. Like I still love E3, I guess, but after that, I don't really miss it as much.
Haven't we all moved since that happened too?
It was last year. Yeah, last year when that happened, it happened on like a Friday or something around there, Friday night. And I was working on a video on E3 1999. I was like, I'll wait to put this out. Why this weekend?
Oh, it was on E3.
Was just E3 1999. I talked about E3 1999. I decided to talk about that the weekend.
I love that.
Everybody got doxxed. And I was like, all right, I'll delay this a couple weeks. Because I didn't want people to be like, oh, well, you're capitalizing on people getting doxxed. I'm like, why would I do that?
I know, right?
First off.
That's funny. This totally ages me. But that was my second ever E3, I believe. My first E3 was 1998. So if there is an E3 next year, it'll be my 22nd one, I guess.
Yeah, I assume you did not get in with a media like whatever. You weren't covering it. It was more so like you could get in
my very first year, I was not covering. I got in through my dad because he had connections through Warner Brothers because he did a minor role in Kingdom Hearts 1. And he's a voice actor. He works on various things, but he was able to get me in as a minor at the time through his connections at Warner Brothers. But then from the second year on, I actually was covering it as like an amateur game journalist for various small time websites, and then from the second year on. But I'll never forget my first big thing at E3 was seeing Final Fantasy VIII, the Final Fantasy VIII demo at the Square Soft booth, and that was like I waited in line like for 4 hours to play FF8.
Oh my God,
it was I'll never forget it. Yeah,
was that the same year they had the FF8 demo, but then they also showed off like a demo. Oh man, it might have been FF9 or something like that, but they showed off a demo of like Final Fantasy running on the PS2 the exact same year, or something like that.
Did they might have.
Yeah,
they were like. It was like they showed off like the ballroom scene from Final Fantasy VIII, maybe, but it was like rendered like it was.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
or maybe I know what you're talking about.
Like Final Fantasy IX. I just thought that was kind of weird. It's kind of like when they did Skyward Sword at E3 like 2011, but then they were like, oh, but here's HD Zelda on the Wii U as like a tech demo kind of thing. It's just like it's always funny when they do kind of stuff like that. Just
it's funny. I'm trying to remember what my dad had worked on, because of course Kingdom Hearts wasn't until 2001, and I went in 1998. So I know it was from I think it was someone through Warner Brothers, and I don't know who that. Of course, that's not Disney, so I don't know. Did
Animaniacs have a PS1 game?
No, it was only SNES, Game Boy, and Genesis for Animaniacs.
And they probably don't have like. Did they have like voice recordings in that, or was it just like?
No, they didn't even have voice recordings, yeah. In fact, I was looking through footage of the Animaniacs games yesterday because I was putting together a little promo reel for a show that my dad and I host together called Game That Tune. We did an Animaniacs reboot celebration last night, so that was a lot of fun.
So the Final Fantasy VIII tech demo was at E3 99.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So that
The
had
exact
would've
year
been-
I had to delay.
okay.
Brilliant, yeah.
Oh, I remember it was
too
such a
scared
big
to
deal.
make a video on.
Dreamcast and Final Fantasy VIII released 9/9/99.
I'll never forget it. Yeah, that's true. And I was one of the ones whose Dreamcast was, or Sonic Adventure disc was bricked. Remember Sega like released a bunch of Sonic Adventure discs that straight up didn't work.
So lovely of them.
No.
And that's a total Sega move. But yeah, they had a whole swath of discs that just didn't work.
Speaking of new consoles, I know we're supposed to talk about news, but can I just vent for a second about?
Go for it.
Please.
I did not secure any of the new console pre-orders. Instead, I decided to
Same.
get Mario Kart Live or whatever, and I played that for an hour. But
Okay.
yeah, but I just didn't. I didn't personally I didn't care enough to be like scouring like social media to be like, okay, I'm gonna wait till like this goes live and then boom, boom, boom. Like I was just like, when I
Same.
get it, I'll get it. But like 2 nights ago, Kohl's decided to put up a PS5 with an extra DualSense controller and Spider-Man, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna try that. And I found out that you can immediately like check out stuff like through your phone with Apple Pay. It just immediately just checks you out. You don't even have to sign in. It just knows like your address and stuff like that.
Yep.
So I did that, and it said your order is confirmed, and I got an email saying your order is confirmed. And I was just like, oh wow. And I saw a bunch of other people like the next day saying my order got canceled. And I was like, my order didn't get canceled. This is amazing. I might get a
Nice.
PS5. Nope. 3 a.m. came around last night.
Oh, no.
And I got
man.
an email that my order got canceled. I don't know why it took that long for them
Oh,
to do that.
why?
But I already bought Demon's Souls from Best Buy
Oh,
in
no.
preparation. So
Oh,
now I
man.
have games coming for a console I can't play. So that's
One
fine.
doesn't simply cancel Scott the frickin' Waz's PS5 pre-order, man.
Do you know who I am?
You don't cancel your
does.
order. Yeah.
Kohl's does. I specifically decided like, no, I'm not gonna pre-order a PS5. I'm gonna wait till it gets in stock at Kohl's. And no, it did not go through well for me. So, but the bright side is you get a bunch of Kohl's cash for doing that, apparently. So I have $180 from Kohl's cash that I get to keep for free.
So the next
So
time
there
it
you
happens,
go.
it's a cheaper
I've never-
PS5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, all I have to
Um,
do is wait 8 years for the PS5 to get a price drop, and then I'll be good.
Is-
So, yeah.
Is this whole situation as bad as the Wii days? Because I just hear, maybe it's because Twitter's
Oh, the
around
Wii
it.
days I remember being just
No.
horrible. Horrible. My parents don't even
Yeah.
know what a... My parents didn't even know what a Wii was, and they were showing up to GameStops asking for one, and they were always like, no. Like, it was...
Yeah.
I think they did pay a scalper on eBay for
I-
it.
I waited
I-
overnight for a Wii at Target. I think
Yeah.
I waited overnight.
Really?
Yeah.
I got mine in
Yeah.
like 2008.
I worked at Target back when the Wii came out, and I had friends that worked at Target. I worked at a GameStop part-time when the Wii came out, and it was unbearable. Like, I had to, even though I worked at the GameStop I bought my Wii from, I had to go outside and wait for like 6 hours to pre-order the Wii.
Oh.
Like, they had a line for the pre-order, and then when my girlfriend at the time wanted one for her place, I had to camp outside a Target for like overnight, and this was months after released to get one. So
Oh,
I mean I
jeez.
see PS5s pop up in stock. Like if you're really like on it, like Wario64 tweets out once or twice a day that PS5s are in stock someplace. So I don't think it's
Cool,
nearly
yeah.
as constrained as the Wii, but you have to be obsessive about trying to find it for sure.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah,
just
that's
the
the thing.
thing
It's
with
like,
the
I'll
games.
find one
There's
when I
only-
find one.
There's only one exclusive, and is it really exclusive? Where it's like Demon Souls. Like I could buy that for the PS3. It's not gonna look that great, but
Yeah.
like Godfall. Never mind. That's
Oh, yeah, that's where it's at. Godfall
that's
is
the
the
system
system
seller
seller.
right there.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
you go.
I am ready for the PS5 though. I do want to highlight Steve. Thanks partially to Steve, his recommendation. I picked up a Black Friday deal on a new 65-inch or 4K TV over the weekend.
Ooh.
And he recommended it to me, and so, dude, you are so right. I had a particularly cushy tax refund, and so I was able to get this 65-inch LG C10
You got your
for
tax
about
refund in
$900.
November? What the fuck?
Yeah, I filed for an extension. It was a weird tax year for me. Yeah. So, but it worked out. It literally came in the same time this Black Friday deal went up. So I got this crazy new 4K TV for $900 essentially.
Wow.
And so I got an incredible deal. So I'm ready for the PS5 whenever I find one. I don't know when it's going to happen, but Steve, man, you were so right. This thing looks amazing. And also, happy marriage, man! Congratulations on getting married.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Decided to pick up a wife over the weekend.
Yeah.
Had to.
It was about time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you want to talk about trials for PS5 though? I follow Jay Witz on Twitter. That poor guy has been working so hard to get one. It's just constant trials of nope, didn't get it. Nope, didn't get it. Nope, didn't get it.
Yeah, I'll get one when I get one. But in the meantime, I can live vicariously through Steve, who continues flexing on us every
the PS5 in the background
episode.
Yeah, it's the size of a like at least 4 newborns. That thing is huge.
Yeah, it's
like if you
like
stack
my
4 newborns,
arm,
that's what
basically.
it is. Yeah, that's why I'm kind of like, yeah, I could get that, and then I could replace my PS4 Pro, but yeah, that's gonna take up a big spot. Like, I don't know.
I have to wonder.
I'm gonna wait till I move out.
I mean, everything I know of Scott's like game room is from his video about his game room. And so I just picture like a desk with a bottle of Pepto on it, a blue wall,
and 300 NES games in there. 2 Wii U's in the box.
Hey, I feel you there. I have a Japanese and an American Wii U for no good reason.
Yep.
That's a Japanese Wii U down there too. It's a Mario Maker one.
I used that Japanese Wii U to play Hyrule Warriors early and Xenoblade Chronicles X early. Couldn't understand a freaking thing going on, but I played them.
Here's a European Wii U. We're three for 3 here.
And that one said
because why not?
That was me on 3DS. I
had to play Wii Dare. That was it was a European exclusive.
I forgot about that.
I was in bed on my wedding night watching that video.
Oh, you're welcome.
Wow.
I was like, this is
I love it.
Set the mood.
It's a good honeymoon video. It's a good honeymoon video. No, it's the Wii game. It's the Wii game for sexy couples. And it only released in Europe, and it's not that sexy. That's my biggest takeaway from that. It was so disappointing. It's not that sexy. But I also I got a few other European Wii games that I'm like, oh yeah, this would be cool. I got Disaster Day of Crisis.
Oh yeah,
that's a great game.
That's gonna be cool to give a try. Yeah, and then there's I don't know, Wii Chess. That's another one. That's the Nintendo published chess game. Yeah, it's one of the only Wii branded games like Wii Sports that didn't come out in North America, and it's a terrible chess game. It's horrible. I don't know.
Really?
I don't know what they were doing. You don't even use the pointer. You use the D-pad to move your pieces.
Really?
It's not even 3D.
Wow.
It's all
Why?
2D. It's all 2D. I don't know. It's just chess too. Like there's nothing else. It's just chess. It's literally like a Windows built-in chess game. It's fun. Nintendo in Europe is funny. Nintendo in Europe is funny, mainly based on like what they name their Mario and Luigi games too.
Oh yeah, like, the Dream Team Bros and the Paper Jam Bros.
That was
why?
Why? Dream Team was so much better.
I only knew that just because they came out in Europe earlier. So all of a sudden, like the only difference is they had Bros at the end of the title, and they had U's in everywhere it shouldn't be, like favorite and all that.
Everywhere.
Well, there was also I think Kirby's Return to Dreamland was called Kirby Adventure Wii or something.
I think it was Kirby's Adventure Wii.
I mean, to be fair, that works, I guess, but it's also it's not the prettiest title.
It's also just a crappy name compared to Return to Dreamland. Yeah. And as Jared Edinger pointed out in the chat, Duck Hunt became Duck Hunt Duo,
which is a better
Smash.
name.
And it is, except when you consider the fact that the trailer itself for Duck Hunt confirms it's a trio. It's the duck, it's the dog, and the person shooting the zapper. It's a Duck Hunt trio.
To be fair, when you have it on the character select screen, I'm sure a lot of people would be like, "Where's the third?" Like they wouldn't get it immediately. Yeah. So it's just like, I don't know. I wish they would have given the dog a name or something like that, instead of just like, his name is Duck.
I agree. Yeah, I totally agree.
Like, all right.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Duck hunt, dog and duck. Duck hunt, dog and duck.
No.
I mean,
we got the duck, and we got.
Why is Rosalina and Luma called Rosalina and Luma? Just call it Rosalina.
Yeah.
It's just like that's it.
Yeah.
Or
Rosaluma.
They called Olimar in the early days of Smash Wii U Pikmin and Olimar.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, sure.
Yeah.
Like, you're not wrong, but...
No.
But why call them that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, amazingly, we do actually have news to discuss today. We've been having such a great time discussing various miscellaneous topics. We actually haven't gotten to the news yet, but there's a little announcement you may have heard today if you're a fan of Square Enix, and that is the fact that The World Ends With You is getting a sequel, finally, after all these years. It's called Neo, The World Ends With You. Square Enix announced it with a trailer. It's coming to PS4 and Switch next summer, and we've got new protagonists, but it does take place in Shibuya still, so it's a kind of a mix of the old and a mix of the new. Derek, you've been kind of looking into this all day, man.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this?
Well, my first thing was like, okay, I got to do a discussion, and then I literally couldn't find anybody. Like, I contacted Lady Pelvic. She was having internet troubles. Contacted Clemps, for those who know near stuff, and he was interested, but he was also super busy for the day. And then I think, were passed out for most of the day because of just
I was
life.
I was up all late or all night last night because my wife wasn't feeling well. So yeah.
So I didn't really have anybody
You got me. The world's biggest World Ends With You.
Yep,
fan.
the person who's the most into RPGs. But so I ended up like, okay, I got to do something with this, because I was like taking notes so I could be well informed on this, because it's been a little bit while. Rewatched all the cutscenes from the final remix stuff, and I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm doing an analysis. We're not calling it it's not going to be named an analysis, and I didn't really expect to do any analyses on Good Vibes, but screw it. I played this game constantly in college. I loved the soundtrack so much that I, one, bought it on iTunes when I never bought anything else on iTunes at the time. And two, when I played the game, I'd actually take my computer speakers and just plug it into the DS so I could have it go through my speakers and really enjoy the soundtrack. So, yeah, I was definitely all for this. And there's some interesting stuff in here. Some weird stuff in here as far as possibilities, because freaking Nomura. Freaking Nomura being part of this. And all I'll say is, and I've seen other people mention this on Twitter, very possible Kingdom Hearts connection.
You think so? Okay, I haven't looked too much into it, but that is very interesting if so, given what we know of how
it's not the first time Sora has met these characters, so...
Right. Well, so it looks like there are a couple of returning characters, right? But the main trio we're seeing in the trailer they're all new characters.
Well, actually, the main trio, but it's a party of four. That's trio. The other thing is that...
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if you've had a chance to look at it much yet, Ash, but you got three...
I've watched a trailer, but I didn't finish the first game, so I don't have as much context for the story as you do. Yeah.
Minami Moto, the math guy who started the sort of meme for the game Zeta Slow, You're So Zeta Slow, is actually a party member in this game. And
interesting.
Karaya is back as a Reaper, of course, and then the mystery girl that's been showing up in Final Remix is in the trailer as well. We got a name for her, so yeah,
nice. Okay,
it's funny to see Scott and Steve just be like, I was
gonna say I identify deeply with Scott just kind of scanning his surroundings.
I'm just hearing words.
Pretty much.
Well, I don't know what they mean.
All I can tell you is you fight with pins in Shibuya, and it has a rocky soundtrack.
I played 30 minutes of The World Ends With You, thank you.
I get
it. Style. I played it on the Switch in docked mode, though, so I'm scared for life.
It should play better this time around. Since it's actually made for this system, it should play a little better.
Yeah. I think it's awesome that it's finally happening, because it feels like for a decade it's just constantly Square Enix has never blatantly said oh no, we're not going to do a World Ends With You sequel because it's too niche or something like that. No, they've generally kind of hinted it very frequently. They're always oh yeah, the story's not over yet and stuff like that. And I don't know why it took this long. I think that's a really fun thing about this generation is that it feels like these companies like Square Enix are. I feel like they have more realistic expectations with how like these kind of smaller franchises are supposed to do, instead of like, I don't know, like a generation ago I remember, like, I think the famous example was like, oh, Tomb Raider only sold 5 million copies, but it needed to sell 7 million or something like that, so it's a failure. I feel like they're allowing for more kind of like smaller franchises like The World Ends With You, which has a huge fan base, but it only had one game, so it's just like, how much can you do with it? But it's also like, I think it's awesome that they're finally doing something with it. It's weird it took this long. It's interesting that it's PS4 instead of like PS5, but it's also like you can play it on PS5, so who cares?
Yeah.
It's also interesting that they went with like a 3D style this time, and the battle system is how much different is it compared to the original? Because the original required like the touchscreen.
Yeah.
This one is obviously all 3D. And is it quite a bit different, or can you see like the connections with it?
It's honestly really hard to say, because it's, from what I can tell, it's flashy but not complicated as far as what they're showing. Like, they're showing off a bunch of different attacks, and they look cool, and they're kind of 3D interpretations of many of the attacks that you saw in the 2D games. But there's no indication of, like, in the 3DS version, you had to swipe across Neku in order to have him do a certain attack, or tap the enemy, or all kinds of different stylish motions in order to activate them all. And there's no indication that that's the case here. So I think it's probably more of a simplification while getting the meat and potatoes of the system into 3D. It really feels like Square Enix has learned the value of mid-budget titles. It's all that kind of with, I think, probably Trials of Mana to me is a mid-budget title, not like super low, but there's at least some expectations there. It's not like what are those games, like the one that was supposed to be Chrono Trigger like in Battle System and didn't do that well.
I Am Setsuna.
Yeah, I Am Setsuna. Those are low-budget Square Enix games.
What's the sequel to that? Lost Spear.
Lost Sphere, and then there was Oninaki, which they weren't actually sequels; they were just Tokyo RPG Factory spiritual. Yeah, exactly. But
speaking
of Chrono Trigger, I agree with what you guys are saying. Square Enix seems like they're learning the value of mid-budget titles. Trials of Mana, the Neo, The World Ends With You. Great. Where's Chrono Break then? Can we have that, please, now, finally, after all this time? Like, or anything Chrono related, please? Like, what? Where is it? Where is it?
I would like, you see, I could see them very much porting Chrono Trigger, the PC version, to Switch, but the problem is, it's just, I don't know, Square Enix in those damn just disgusting looking, like, new versions of old games. I hate how the Dragon Quest games look. They look disgusting. Yeah. I was just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like, but,
Oh, we're totally going to get the Steam version of Chrono Trigger on Switch for $24.99, and we're going to have to like it. That's just what it's going to be.
Well, yeah. I think Square Enix has said they don't want to stop until they put pretty much their entire back catalog on new platforms. Didn't they say that at some point? They're like, yeah,
they did. I think.
Yeah. I could have sworn at the very least they were like, yeah, we want to make our entire backlog available on like new platforms, and I'm like, I like that.
Yeah,
I like that incentive.
Because everybody begs for Chrono Trigger. I don't know if we're going to get a Chrono Break until they actually re-release Chrono Cross. That's the telling point to me, because they have not acknowledged Chrono Cross in how many years?
It's weird. I don't know. This is coming from an outsider, of course. But to me, it feels like the Chrono series is significantly more popular than the Mana series. Would you say that's like true? Or...
I think that's
true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. It's just weird because the Mana series has had so much more support. There's the fact that they were willing to not only localize the original Trials of Mana, but they remade it entirely. Like both of them, they did both.
Yeah.
But they're not even. They haven't even put Chrono Trigger on like the actual home consoles like recently.
It really is odd. It feels like they don't know what to do with it. I wonder if they don't feel like it's worth doing anything with unless they can get the Dream Team back together, which that's not going to happen. So I don't know, but clearly there's a lot of latent love for Chrono continuing on today, and it's just so weird that they won't touch it. I don't, but I do think we're going to get Chrono Trigger on Switch, Steam version for like $25. That sounds like a very Square thing.
You hate me every time I bring this up, but I am still crossing my fingers we get Chrono Trigger remade in like the Dragon Quest XI engine. I think that would look
Dude,
cool.
I would love that. I don't hate you for bringing that up. I would love to see
no,
that
I
happen.
give you hope for something that will never happen.
Oh, you give me hope for it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because playing through Dragon Quest XI, one of the things I was thinking of was like, oh my god, Chrono Trigger could work so perfectly, literally in this exact art style, 3Dified and everything. But what are you gonna do, right? Neo is not the only World Ends With You news we have today. Square also dropped a new trailer for the anime, which I also watched, and it looks really nice. It looks really nice. I know we don't have too much to
things: RPGs and anime.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Well, I just wanted to. No, I'll gloss over the.
I just want to say I'm happy that I can
talk about this.
Yeah.
I was happy that I was right about this.
Honestly, if you don't want to worry about the gameplay, the anime looks like a pretty decent adaptation. Might be just easier to watch this.
It looks
and even though Mora
too.
jumped onto the anime's Twitter account to promote Neo, since World Ends With You does not have its own Twitter account, and it was just like, hey, this comes out in April, and the game comes out in the summer, so watch the anime, play the sequel. I think that's really the plan they have.
One thing I want to point out here is that Scott has a very funny video about trying to get into anime, and it's one of my favorites on his entire channel.
Yes. Nice.
I haven't watched that one, but I'm afraid to ask which one he attempted to watch.
To be fair, I thought it was hilarious because I woke up today and I saw because I remember seeing something about Square Enix is doing a World Ends With You countdown. And I was like, they're probably just going to announce something like anime related. And that's all they did initially. And I was like, yeah.
Made sense.
They did it again. No, they actually announced a new game, which I just realized there's also I just remembered it has the same name as it's just is there any reason for the name Neo at this point, or is it just do you guys know
it's Square Enix?
Because it's just I bought the game Neo 2. I bought the game Neo 2 on Black Friday for a Black Friday deal. I was just like, oh wow, they both named the same thing. That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you guys can proceed talking about the anime.
No, I did.
Oh no, there's not a whole lot to say. It looks really nice.
That.
Yeah, and Neo looks cool, but I think we've certainly talked about enough The World Ends With You for now. So let's switch gears, or is that double gears, to a new story I know you do want to discuss, Scott, and that is regards Capcom releasing a mini arcade system that's packed with a curious selection of Mega Man and Street Fighter games, and it's coming out this Christmas in Japan. This news comes by way of Nintendo Life via Silicon Era, and so basically this thing is like it's about 4 pounds. It's like a little mini arcade unit with its own screen, and now this is the weird part though. The games it comes with, get ready for this: Mega Man: The Power Battle, Mega Man 2: The Power Fighters, Mega Man X, Mega Man Soccer, Mega Man and Bass, the Japanese Super Famicom version, Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition, Super Street Fighter 2, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo. So this is a really interesting lineup of games for this thing. I really would like to know how they selected these, because usually, they just Mega Man 1 through 6, Street Fighter 2 various versions, and that's it. But this is like the first ever re-release of Mega Man Soccer that I think we've ever had.
I guess
they
these
just
are more
your Twitter feed.
Was it a weird Virtual Console Wii release? It probably wasn't. I'm just trying to think.
I'm not sure, but
I don't think it's ever been re-released. I could be wrong, but I don't think it has.
Honestly, you could toss in Mega Man Battle and Chase, and you have a third Legacy collection there.
That's true. Yeah.
That was my biggest problem with the Legacy collections for Mega Man. They could have thrown in they had to do base, and they could have done the Game Boy titles. They could have done the Game Gear one.
Mm-hmm.
They could have done these.
The Game Gear
they could have just completed up. They could have just made it this full blown one, but instead it's just they're still good collections, but it's just there's just those little things missing that I'm just oh man, they could have done
they should do the equivalent of the Sonic Gems collection, but for Mega Man, with those weird, but Mega Man
I have my problems with that collection. That collection was just Sonic CD and then just a bunch of garbage.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's just
I like the Game Gear games, all right. Well, mostly.
Okay, but it's just
8-bit Sonic 2.
Those were included in every single kind of collection kind of thing. Okay, you had Sonic Mega Collection Plus, and then Adventure DX.
Yeah, Adventure DX you could unlock them.
Yeah.
They found every excuse to throw Game Gear games at you. It wasn't
take them, please.
It wasn't no, this is these miniature console kind of deals are always interesting at first, but this one, it's really weird. Like, I'm just trying to see
Right?
the purpose of it. I'm just like, I think it looks really neat because it kind of reminds me of like a lot of like the standard, like a lot of those arcade cabinets you see in Japan, where it's just like the big like just bulbous screen and just like stuff like that. Oh, I just realized it looks like Mega Man. I don't know why. Why did it take me that long?
Didn't actually realize that either.
Oh man. Yeah,
That's funny.
I mean, it kind of does. I mean, like,
It kind of
like
does.
the
I think
bolts
it's
on
more
the
just.
side.
I think
Yeah.
it's more the color scheme, right? The blue and yellow Capcom
No, it's
color
definitely
scheme.
the things on the sides for me, like the Capcom
Oh, the
logos
ear
on either side that
things?
look like
Yeah,
his
I
ears.
see what you mean.
Yeah.
I got
But
you.
it's like-
yeah.
I don't know. Do you guys feel like the miniature console scene is definitely dying out, and like these kind of feel like a lot weirder and weirder as time goes on? Where it's just like, if you're gonna do this, why these games?
Why this?
Yeah, why? Because like this could be like legitimately cool. Like they could have like 20 of like they could have picked like why Mega Man X?
Yeah,
Mega
Man
X is
does
great,
does feel like the
but
weird
it's just
one.
like why?
But why? Yeah, this particular
these-
selection of games is so
Yeah,
weird.
and like
yeah.
something like Street Fighter 2, is that going to be the arcade version? I assume it is, but it's just like just the fact that they have console games as well. It's really weird.
You want to know the thing
Yeah.
that irks me the most about this is it has the Mega Man. It has a Mega Man X Street Fighter logo or Mega Man Cross Street Fighter logo on it, but does not include the officially released Mega Man Cross Street Fighter game. Like,
I don't know
That's
if
true.
they'll
Why?
ever acknowledge that game again, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Well, it's-
That's
like,
funny
it's
though.
official, but not
yeah.
official. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird how that happens because it's just like, oh, Capcom published it. It's not official though. It's just
Yeah,
like,
that's
but it's
fair.
official, but it's not
Yeah.
official. It's always really weird. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird selection, and also like for the price, this is like what is this $200? Yeah, this is like $200.
So it's It doesn't
You only
currently
get,
have
like-
pricing information, but yeah, apparently it previously said $210, which is
yeah.
way too much.
Which I mean, like
Yeah.
what? Like 10 games? How many games are we talking here? Like
It's
1,
10
2,
games.
3, 4, 5. No, that's not worth
Yeah.
it.
That right?
That's not worth it.
But Mega Man
it's cool.
Soccer, man.
Well, yeah.
I'm kidding.
got
It's
me
not-
there.
I wouldn't pay
got me
21
there.
cents for Mega Man Soccer. Like, yeah.
I'd pay $1.
Fair enough.
I'll give
Fair
it a bit of I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. But no, like okay, so like these miniature consoles, like after the SNES Classic, I just feel like they've significantly died off in terms of just popularity. Where it's just like even the Genesis Mini when that came out, like people cared, but it just people didn't really care. Like it was like that kind of like half like okay, people care, but they don't really. It's because
Yeah.
we've seen all these Genesis miniature consoles before, and then the TurboGrafx 16 came out, but it's the TurboGrafx 16. It's cool, but it's super niche.
Yeah.
And like the PlayStation
Yeah.
Classic just absolutely just floundered.
Oh, yeah.
And it just and it's just like I don't know. I feel like people like will buy this as a collectible, but nothing else. And like I don't know if this is specifically modeled after a specific Capcom arcade cabinet. If it is, that's cool. But if it isn't, then that kind of makes it even less desirable because it's kind of like
Yeah.
that's kind of half of the reason to have these miniature consoles is to have this mini cute version of a bigger thing on your shelf.
Right.
I don't know. It's weird. Like if this was like 100, that's pushing it, but still like, like
It's
sure,
kind of cool
but
for
it's
the
just
form
like-
factor type thing.
Yeah.
You know, though, I'm
Yeah.
with Scott on this one because Sega's releasing their own like mini arcade on December 17th in Japan, the Astro City Mini, which does look like a Japanese Sega cabinet, and it has like
Yeah.
37 games.
And it's
for
only $100.
$140.
I saw that.
Yeah, it's like, how does
Which makes a
Capcom
lot
get
more
away with
sense.
this dismal number of games for that price?
And why
Yeah.
are like a couple of the games console games? Because it's just like I don't know. It's kind of like if the NES Classic Edition included like the arcade version of Rygar, just randomly.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
Like it's just like okay, like it's retro, sure. Like I guess it fits, but it doesn't. It's like this weird thing, and like this reminds me of like like I think like at games, like AT games, however you want to pronounce it. They're doing like this. They're releasing like these big arcade games to kind of like combat with like the arcade 1-up stuff, where it's like these kind of like at home arcade games. But they include stuff like Disney SNES and Genesis games on there, and Atari console games, like Atari 2600 games. I'm like, that's lame. Like, why would I want that on an arcade cabinet?
Yeah.
Why would I want our Mega Man
Yeah.
X here? Like, I don't get it.
It's really
kinda
weird.
neat, but still.
The funny thing is, Nintendo
Yeah.
could have kept this trend going for the mini consoles if they had done like an N64 classic. It's really weird they didn't, because people wanted that.
Game Boy would have been rad.
Game Boy
I would have
one as
loved
well,
a Game Boy Classic. That would have been, because like N64, that stuff gets re-released at least every generation. Like it doesn't get re-released as much as SNES or NES, but it gets re-released enough. Game Boy, like the only time that stuff got re-released was with like the 3DS Virtual Console. I'm down to play like Alleyway again, or just
Alleyway's awesome.
Yeah, they're just kind of like, even if like the old Game Boy games, like like Game Boy Golf or Baseball, like they aren't that great, but it's just like you don't see them as much as like the NES Black Box stuff. So I think that would be pretty cool. This stuff, most of these games, like you get all the time, where it's just like most of the Street Fighter 2s, Mega Man X. Even like, I mean, like, when was the last time Power Battle and Power Fighters were re-released?
I think on PS2.
I think it was
the Anniversary Collection.
Yeah, the Anniversary Collections. Yeah.
Well, okay, that's kind of cool, I guess, because it's just like it's been a while. But I'd rather have them in the form of like re-release them in like how Capcom did like the beat 'em up bundle, just do like a collection of like the Mega Man arcade games. Then like it's just like because you're re-releasing it through this method. This is such like a weird method to like, oh well, they're re-released. Well, they're only re-released via this weird console. So
I think that's why
in
it's
Japan,
only Japan
only.
Yeah. They can get away with it in the Japanese market.
You guys are aiming low. I still want a Saturn Mini. That's the mini console I want. It'll never happen. But that's the one. I would pay good money for a Saturn Mini. Let me tell you. Yeah.
I was hoping for the Sega Ages line to get two Saturn and Dreamcast games.
I know.
By and large, Sonic 2. That was good enough.
Yeah,
that was good enough. We don't get enough Sonic 2.
No.
I think the mini console market basically belongs to Nintendo. I think if they launched an N64 Mini, it would revitalize interest. I would pick one up for sure, and I think a lot of people would. But I think
many people would.
Yeah, I think a Dreamcast Mini could do marginally better than the Genesis Mini did, but I think Nintendo really kind of has this nostalgia cornered.
Yeah, I feel like Dreamcast Mini would kind of do as well as like the TurboGrafx 16 Mini. Like honestly, where it's very niche, but it's also like you'll get some people who never played the Dreamcast, because so many people just talk so highly of the Dreamcast because of its amazing library. So I think you'd get a lot of people curiously buying it for that. Like, man, that would take so much more effort and so much more licensing and all of that. Even though Sega really went above and beyond with licensing on the Genesis Mini.
Oh man, the fact that we finally got
Disney games,
Bloodlines re-released, that's crazy.
Yeah, Contra Hardcore. It was Tetris. Went on there. They didn't even get Tetris on the NES Mini or the NES Classic.
Yeah, it's true.
It was crazy.
And it was also the first ever release of Mega Man: The Wily Wars off the Sega channel.
That's awesome. Yeah, that was awesome. I love that. And they really went above and beyond for that kind of stuff. But it's just like, the Sega just absolutely just completely just stretched the Genesis brand thin over the past few years, where it's just like if you re-release something Genesis related, nobody's gonna care that much. Honestly, like it's just like there's been so many re-releases and collections and just all of this stuff and the at-game stuff that it's just like it's just like it's not gonna do as well. It just won't do as
except for Sonic 3, and I still don't get why they won't just re-release Sonic 3 with the non-MJ music tracks that we knew now were composed for the original Sonic 3 before they were replaced with the MJ tracks.
It's even weirder because I think that game's backwards compatible on Xbox One, is it? Or Sonic and Knuckles might be.
Maybe it's Sonic and Knuckles.
The last time I saw they re-released...
then what's the problem then? If it's backwards compatible on Xbox One, you have to get... I think they have to do a lot of re-licensing to make something backwards compatible on Xbox One. So it's just like, why? Like, I don't understand it.
Yeah.
It's really bizarre. At least if I was Sega, I would just like, I just pay the premium, just get it for good. Just be like, okay, we license this for at least the next 2 decades. Yeah. At least then it's just like then you'll make your money back and then some, because every single system they're gonna re-release it for like $5. So it's just like
I feel like they
constantly rebuy it.
Could do okay with Dreamcast just because there's, as you said, there's enough latent interest in those games that I know I missed out on. But a system with the both Sonic Adventure games, Crazy Taxi, Power Stone, Soul Calibur, Choo Choo Rockets, House of the Dead, who knows what else, but just so many really great Dreamcast games they could get on there.
They have to have like a USB slot for the. I mean, like the Genesis Mini had a USB for the controllers, but then you could plug in a USB keyboard. You could have Typing of the Dead.
Oh,
which would be
there you
pretty
go.
rad. There'd be a lot of cool stuff.
Oh,
like that.
nice. Typing of the Dead.
As much as I hate to admit it, if they do a Saturn Mini, Sega 100% go bankrupt. Like they're just that is.
Oh, I know.
That will not do
how
well.
time
That will
just
not.
is a-
In Japan, it'll do very well. But like if they do it here, oof, that I think if they would do a Saturn Mini, it would only be in Japan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because they didn't even do Game Gear.
Oh, I think so. I mean, I would be
here.
happy to import it, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
Arkwing in the chat says Phantasy Star Online on Dreamcast Mini would be awesome, and holy hell, do I ever agree? I've
You would
literally-
love that, Steve.
Evernight
Yeah.
Studio,
I-
Skies of Arcadia, of course.
How many mini consoles have internet access?
Don't think
is-
any.
I don't. Yeah. So they could
Yeah, I
do
don't think
something
any of them
cool
do.
with that. They could do something cool with that.
Yeah, that would be pretty
Well-
awesome.
Well, speaking of classic consoles, one of the most important classic consoles of all time just celebrated its 30th birthday over the weekend, and that is the Super Famicom, which originally released on November 21st, 1990 in Japan. So on Saturday, this little guy turned 30 years old, and I don't know about you guys, but I can still say confidently that it is still my favorite console of all time. So happy 30th birthday, Super Famicom / Super Nintendo.
I don't know if it's
wouldn't
my
call it
favorite
my
console.
favorite.
Yeah, it's still mine,
I'm a-
but it's
I'm
close.
I'm like whatever 12 years old or whatever. So like I'm a GameCube baby. So
Gotcha.
The
Gotcha.
GameCube is my favorite. But the Super Nintendo and Super Famicom have some of obviously the most revolutionary games of all time. Some of the most classic, iconic games of all time. It's ridiculous to act like it isn't one of the greatest
Yeah.
consoles of all time. Just looking at the library,
Yeah.
what would you say your favorite? Like everybody, like what your favorite Super Nintendo game is, or at least like a couple of your favorites.
Oof. Chrono Trigger for sure. That's like a top
Yeah.
Yeah,
5
obviously.
games of all time for me. Beyond that, I would have to say I didn't have a Super Nintendo for a long time.
Yeah, same.
I got it like right towards the end of its life, which was great because my mom had just met my dad and he bought me a Super Nintendo as like his first gift for me. And like a year later, I'm like,
Nice.
hey, there's a new Nintendo coming out and I'd like to buy that. So he's like, "This is a terrible
Nice.
kid. This kid sucks."
Uh-huh.
And beyond that, like I played a lot of 2D anime fighting games on that thing because I was 14 and that was what I was
Okay.
into. So probably like one
Did you ever
of
play the
old,
Ranma fighting game?
I did. Oh well, which
Me
one?
too.
But I played the
Well,
Ranma
there's
RPG.
Hard Battle.
I played
Okay, I didn't play the RPG, but there was Ranma 1/2 Hard Battle, the fighting game, which was pretty good. I remember
Ranma
that
1/2
being pretty
Hard
fun.
Battle is the one that was released in America, and there was a sequel,
Yeah.
a Japan-only sequel to it that I really liked,
Right.
and I can't remember the
Okay.
name of it, but I liked
I can't
the,
either,
the
yeah.
sequel, but I still have it somewhere
Okay.
around here. I played it on my Super NT the other day, and
Nice. I gotta get one of those. Yeah.
I want one of those. I really want their portable one that you can play everything on.
yeah.
Nice.
And then there's I really want the Sega Genesis one because that has Sega CD support. So that'd be pretty
Oh,
cool.
right.
Oh, yeah.
I got one of those right here too.
Yeah. Wow.
Steve was
My
just
mini
like
console
showing off
short.
with his consoles.
Yeah.
I don't. None of them are hooked
knock
up.
the PS5 over at this point, man. Like I'm tired
Uh-huh.
of looking at that thing.
Oh, damn you, Coles.
I mean, I will, of course, co-sign on Chrono Trigger. It's both my favorite Super Nintendo game and my favorite game of all time, but also, like, Mega Man X, Illusion of Gaia, Tetris Attack, Yoshi's Island. I mean, you could go on forever, right?
I have an
FF6.
odd affinity for Hook for the Super NES. Like,
Okay, nice.
I played
Who
a lot of that.
doesn't?
And I was like,
Yeah.
Sony. I think Sony made that game, didn't they?
I don't
Did they
know.
for the SNES? Let me see. SNES Hook.
Oh, man, the chat's coming through with all these other games. Yeah, Kirby Superstar, Donkey Kong Country 2, Super Metroid. I mean, yeah.
I mean,
The
yeah,
Super Nintendo,
basically,
you just can't beat
all
me.
those, a lot of great games. I did not play them until way later because I did not grow. I had a Genesis growing up, not a SNES. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was also a Genesis baby because I had one. I had it hand-me-down wise.
Nice.
But I experienced most of the Super Nintendo catalog through the GBA.
Same.
Mainly through like the Mario Advance series. You know, played a lot of Mario World and Yoshi's Island, even though those are inferior versions.
Still, had fun.
They're tolerable. They're tolerable. No, my favorite Super Nintendo game is Tetris Attack. I love Tetris Attack specifically.
What an amazing game!
Specifically, Tetris Attack. I love Panel de Pon, but I love it's just like I can just zone out to that Stage 1 Yoshi's Island remix. Yeah. And just like all my worries go away if I played at the lowest speed, and I just like man, it's just like I just match blocks, and it just makes me feel so emotional. I also love Family Feud SNES. That's my favorite.
I don't know if I played that.
I don't think I've played it.
It's so stupid. Yeah. It's so stupid. I like it. It's it's pretty. It's just Family Feud on the SNES. I'm really upset that I haven't played a lot of Super Punch-Out because I love Punch-Out, but Super Punch-Out's always the one that nobody really plays that much. So I really want to try to get more into that. And then of course the DKC titles are great. I'm trying to think of anything else. I played an abnormal amount of Super Mario Kart within the past couple years, and my God, that game! That game literally is so much more difficult than any other Mario Kart that
it is so much more.
It is a nightmare.
Yeah,
it is
I'm awful at the original Super Mario Kart.
Drifting. Just drifting. I'm like, this isn't how this is supposed to work. And it's just it's
drifting feels so weird in that game. Yeah,
it's a lot to get used to. And I love Mario World. And I played a bit of Super Metroid within the past year. I've been trying to get through that. But Mario World, I'm trying to think if I like Mario World or Yoshi's Island more. Yoshi's Island, some of the stages become a bit like long in the tooth.
Sure, that's
Mario
fair.
World is
later in the game.
Mario World is just like you just plow right through it. And as a kid, I can never get past. There was that section like Forest of Illusion where it just does a circle. And
I was like, that was the stopping point. It's like, how the heck do you get out of here?
What do I do?
I don't know if I approve of how you said you've been trying to get through Super Metroid. One doesn't try to get through Super Metroid. You just sit down and devour it.
I've been playing Family Feud SNES.
Of course.
It's a good game. It's a funny game. You play that with friends and you just dick around. It's kind of funny.
Some fun trivia from the Nintendo Life article here on the Super Famicom's 30th anniversary is that the console shifted 300,000 units in hours when it launched in Japan, and it caused such chaos that the Japanese government famously requested that console manufacturers schedule their launches on weekends in the future, because November 21st was a Wednesday. And I think that also happened with Dragon Quest.
I was going to say, is that where the Dragon Quest thing came from? Because I'm not sure. That became less and less of a thing as time goes on, so I almost wonder if that was almost like an urban legend for the Dragon Quest series.
Well, they were big into the Tuesdays for a while over here, but thankfully they've shifted over to Fridays, which is much better. It's a much better idea. Because I think Nintendo started doing that. Yeah. They started doing Friday. They originally did Sundays for some reason. They originally like Sundays, and it's just like, okay, it's just like right when you have the entire weekend over, and then it's just like, great, now I can play my game. Fridays are good because then you have the whole weekend in front of you. Tuesdays were always kind of weird, but that was kind of initiated by like Sonic 2. But yeah.
Well, keeping the focus on Nintendo for now as we roll to our next news story. Nintendo has confirmed that, this comes by way of my Nintendo news, they have confirmed that Hyrule Warriors is not expected to become its own series after Age of Calamity, which I didn't know this needed to be confirmed. Was anyone really thinking that it would? I wasn't.
Don't think so.
I don't know why this is a thing that needed to be said, but okay.
It's a little weird because the original Hyrule Warriors was just this amalgamation of everything Zelda, and then this one makes sense as like... the more you think about it, it's just kind of funny how it's just like, oh, Hyrule Warriors, that was just a non-canonical little spin-off thing that was supposed to be just like a one-off little thing, and then its sequel is fully canonical, and it's more of like, you know, it's just like fits in this kind of a universe. It's a bit of an interesting thing, but it's I don't know. Like, I think it could be kind of cool to kind of maybe focus on like singular Zelda games, but it's just like, I think the only one that truly makes sense is Breath of the Wild because of just like the precedent of the story.
Yeah,
but it's like Like I don't really expect them to do a third Hyrule Warriors because like what do you do? Kind of depends on what the next Zelda title is. If Breath of the Wild 2 initiates another war after like that game's over, or if it's like the next Zelda lore includes kind of a giant war like this.
Well, and also, I mean, Hyrule Warriors, especially Definitive Edition, already covered anything else you could possibly want, I would think, character-wise at least. I'm sure, you can have a new Zelda story and have that be its own game, sure. But in terms of repping Zelda characters, Definitive Edition, it's already done it. I mean, you've got so many characters, even, Marin from Link's Awakening and characters you will never see return.
Though.
Oh, no, that's the one thing everybody
Groose. Groose is the one. Yeah.
I wanted Groose, and they didn't. Yeah. They never added him, and I just thought that was, like, one of the most obvious choices.
You're right. So then come on, we got to get Hyrule Warriors Age of Groose in there. Let's just do it. Groose gets his own.
A good idea.
Hyrule Warriors, the Groose is loose.
Nice. I love it.
I officially started playing Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity like a couple days ago. What are you guys thinking about it? I'm enjoying it so far. I think I've seen some reviews that are like 9s out of 10s. I think that's a bit high. Like I'm like it's still a Warriors game.
I think it depends on your affinity for Warriors games.
I'm like,
I've only played
them, but I'm
the
not
early
crazy about them. Yeah,
I'm mainly there for the story, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's just weird because Breath of the Wild is so the story wasn't the best part of it. It was like it's just like out of everything I loved about Breath of the Wild, the story was kind of at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
Like
the story was
fine. So it's just like it's cool to see characters 100 years ago, but I'm not necessarily caring that much about the story considering I know what's gonna happen. So it's like
but now there's time travel.
It's a little weird.
But yeah, see, we don't really know what's going to happen because there's time travel. So, by the way, we see people in the chat saying no spoilers. There will be no spoilers for Age of Calamity.
I will say this right now. I have not had a lot of time to play Hyrule Warriors. I have not even done Rivali's quest. Like, I finally got a chance to play a little bit more last night, and I just did all the side quests.
Wow, I'm ahead of Derek.
Spoilers.
Nice.
So, I picked up the game on launch day, and I didn't play it for most of launch day, but, I mean, I took time off for my wedding. And it turns out that a wedding's only like a few hours long. So I was like, oh, hey, I can play Age of Calamity while I'm not getting married. And so I've been playing a lot of it, and I'm actually surprised by how much I do like it. I didn't think I was going to. I'm with Scott, though. It's not a 9 out of 10. Like, not by any stretch. At least not 7, as far as I've played. Like, a solid 7-8 popcorn kind of game. Like, it's entertaining enough, but I'm not, like, blown away by it. I'm just like, this is kind of fun. I like this.
Yeah. Of course, you have like the problem with Warriors games being the performance, specifically with like like lower end hardware like the Switch. The Breath of the Wild art style still looks really good, but the thing is with this game is that it's a lot more cinematic. They have way more cutscenes so far. And the problem is the Breath of the Wild art style doesn't work well in all instances. There's like a lot of up close shots with like just these disgusting looking textures, just disgusting. And like some like the little mini guardian is a little like low poly sometimes. It's fine, but it's just like but then there's like random cutscenes where it's just like you see like the Zelda model, and Zelda's just like you don't see any polygons on it, you don't see any like it's just like she's like this perfect like smooth character model. It's just like wow, this looks great. And then like other times like it's just like man, this art style wasn't made for every instance. So it's just like but overall, like, I don't know. It's really funny to see how, like, wild they go with, like, taking Breath of the Wild, just, like, things. Like your abilities and just, like, shield surfing and the paraglider and, the Sheikah Slate abilities and just taking them and just going just hog wild on just doing moves around them. It's really funny to see, like, all that kind of stuff. No, I'm enjoying it so far, but I don't know if anybody who would expect, like, a third one after this. I don't think it's impossible, but it's just like so
I'm still very much in the early stages. I'm still very much in the early stages. I'm enjoying what I've played so far, but I've mostly been stuck on Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory, which I'm still working my way through. But I do want to switch over to Age of Calamity ASAP, mainly because I don't want to get spoiled. I mean, I enjoy Musou games, but I'm not going there for the gameplay. I'm going there to see how it affects Breath of the Wild story. And I'm going there to spend actual time with all these really cool characters that Breath of the Wild introduced me to, but who weren't actually alive in Breath of the Wild to, do cool stuff with.
Yeah.
So
and they've all
that's
had good
what's,
moments so
bringing
far.
me to Age of Calamity. I'm sure, yeah.
One thing I want to point out, because Scott was talking about the frame rate, and I agree completely. I unlocked Urbosa today, and I was playing as her, and when she does
I'm farther
her,
than you then. If
Oh,
you
well, I
only
played
just
a lot.
unlocked-
I unlocked Urbosa this morning. I've played a lot since this morning.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. It turns out the day after you get married, like, you just, it's another normal day. So I was just like, oh, well, I guess I'm going to sit on the couch and play Age of Calamity for like 9 hours.
Okay, then.
But anyway, yeah, like,
Nice.
family was here. Like, they're like, hey, we want to spend time with your kids. I was like, yeah, do that. Like, you take my children and I will play video games all day.
I love it.
Anyway, but she does her weak point move, like when she strikes an enemy's weak point, and she like kind of dances around the enemy and uses her lightning. And I have never not seen the frame rate completely tank when I do that. Like, I mean, definitely like in the teens. Like, it's bad.
A lot of times when you use the remote bombs in any moveset, just like all the explosions, like it just obliterates the game. Like, it's ridiculous. It's never like I wasn't expecting it to be like a buttery smooth frame rate. It never like, it's kind of like a Link's Awakening style frame rate where it's just like, okay, this doesn't really affect the gameplay really or my enjoyment much, but it's just like, it's noticeable. It's
Yeah.
But Link's Awakening doesn't have the excuse of being a Musou game, though. Like, I still
that
don't
thing,
know
that
why
thing
Link's
would run on a
Awakening.
potato. Like, I'm just like,
why?
That thing's ridiculous.
Yeah,
So
I don't understand
my
why that
theory-
game. Yeah.
My theory is that because I remember there being rumors of there being a Link's Awakening remake for 3DS, like before that got announced.
Oh, really?
So I just remember seeing stuff like that, and I could maybe see it be something like they were working on this for 3DS, and then they kind of hastily just threw it on
Sure.
Switch,
That could-
and maybe some random coding just wasn't really thought through, and like it may not have ran as well, just because like they're different architectures. I don't know. Like, that's just my personal theory.
It makes
Even
sense.
though I know nothing.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. Well, Age of Calamity does seem like the kind of game that would be really worth replaying if you care about frame drops, which it seems like most of us here do, when the possible Switch Pro comes out and hopefully adds performance enhancements. So here's hoping that happens. Speaking of performance enhancements, a retail listing at Best Buy has revealed that a PS5 upgrade for The Last of Us Part 2 could be in the works, but let's be honest, it's totally coming.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's in the works.
Looking at this, I'm like, that's not even news. It's just obvious.
Yeah. So it's nice to have some sort of actual, somewhat confirmation, but it's happening either way. It's just a matter of when.
I didn't play Last of Us until the remastered version came out on PS4. I might as well just wait on Last of Us Part 2 for the PS5 remaster.
well, do you really need Last of Us Part 2 to look better? It already looks
right?
pretty damn good.
Yeah, good point.
Exactly. Yeah.
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 The Last of Us Part 2 is one of the best looking games I've ever seen. I don't know that I need anything. If they did like they did with Ghost of
SSD,
Tsushima and just uncap the frame rate or decrease loading times, cool. But I don't know that I need to go and buy a new version. I don't think that there's enough there to remaster it like the same way they did with Spider-Man or something. I don't know.
Well,
it may just be an upgrade.
Yeah, maybe
it may be like a patch
or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if it's a patch, I'm all for it. To be clear, if they do what they did with the PS4 version, where you had to buy the whole game again, I don't really know
I think this generation, it feels so much less. It just feels so much more forced that they do stuff like Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition and stuff like that, because you can play Devil May Cry 5 on the PS5, no problem. So it's just like, why do I have to buy like this completely new version of it for the? It's just, at least with PS4 you had no backwards compatibility, so it's just like it kind of made sense. Now it's just it is backwards compatibility, and they're still trying to push these remasters, and I'm like, okay, it helps the game, but it's also like, I don't know, I just feel way less inclined to rebuy a lot of this stuff.
True.
Well, if I had a PS5, damn it, yeah. But
it is worth noting that the Best Buy store listing in question includes a tag that reads "includes next-gen upgrades." So that seems to suggest, if this is real, that seems to suggest it might be a patch or
That
like
would be
an inherent. Yeah, so hopefully that is the case. All right, well, moving right along here, we got a couple more news stories. The Sonic movie sequel is going to be entering production in March 2021.
Oh, no, Derek.
I am so excited for this.
more
So
kids.
it's officially entering production in March 2021 and is codenamed quite appropriately Emerald Hill. How nice is that? Yeah, so I think we were all surprised by how good the Sonic movie ended up actually being. And of course, the end of the movie sets it up perfectly for a sequel with everybody's favorite two-tailed sidekick. And I'm ready. In my veins, whatever I need to say, I'm ready to see this movie. I was so surprised by how good the Sonic movie was.
I don't think I've ever heard Scott's opinions on it, because I'm seeing a little smirk on his face. I'm almost wondering, like, did he not enjoy this?
We were, me and my friends were disappointed with how not terrible it was.
Oh,
it was,
yeah.
Disappointed,
yeah. We showed up in suits to the premiere. And because we specifically, when the first trailer was revealed, we were like, we gotta go.
Of course.
Obviously.
Yeah. And when the redesign was announced, I was like, I mean, good, but damn it.
Yeah.
We show up to the movie in their suits. It was really hot, and I think I got a blister in my foot from the dress shoes I was wearing. And it was. You ever have that thing in a movie theater where you sit down and it's a fairly empty theater, then that one guy decides to sit right next to you?
Yep.
So our friends, my friends, kind of had that situation where it's like, there's so many other seats, man. Like, why did you have to sit next to us? We wanted to riff. We wanted to riff on it.
Yeah.
But it was also like. It was a completely fine little movie. It was probably one of the best video games. I don't know what I liked better, this or Pokemon Detective Pikachu. As somebody who's not super into Pokemon, but it's also like I thought that movie was pretty good. I felt like as an overall movie, I think Detective Pikachu was probably better, but it's also like Sonic was more entertaining. I'd rather watch that again.
I totally agree with you.
That's
yeah,
fair.
I think you said it perfectly. Yeah. And I think Sonic was a better Sonic movie than Detective Pikachu was a Pokemon movie.
Well, Sonic still had that dumb, like, oh, we're going to try to put this in the real world kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
Pokemon made a little more sense as, like, a live-action CGI hybrid. Where Sonic, I'm just like, why? Like, it's just like, immediately when they announced this is a live-action CGI hybrid, I just immediately thought of, like, Alvin and the Chipmunks or Smurfs, and I was like, why? Why do that to Sonic? That makes no sense.
Right.
But they made it work. They made it work pretty well.
Well,
it's not too bad.
I'll say this. Detective Pikachu doesn't have Jim Carrey telling us what's in his egg sack, so I think Sonic
that was a good
wins
moment.
by default.
That was a good moment.
Jim Carrey was having a lot of fun.
I like that one.
He and Tails are the two biggest reasons I'm excited about this movie. I just want more Jim Carrey, Robotnik, and I want more Tails. Like, that's the whole thing.
Because I think Tails was voiced by like his standard voice actress.
Yeah.
And
I hope that stays that way. I don't think it will.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson to voice Tails or something.
I could see Tails getting recast, honestly. Although there might be enough fan uproar, but.
That's
we didn't get.
They'll probably get Tom Holland to do it or something. I don't know.
Oh, God.
And then
If you're gonna go off book with it, just get Danny DeVito to do Tails.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Tails better sound like a kid. Like if they get someone whose voice is dropped to do Tails, like, and Tails sounds like any of us, I'm gonna be so disappointed.
I need to get the same voice actor that did it back in Sonic Adventure 1. He's grown up now.
Oh,
he
yeah,
can
there
probably.
you go.
It's true. There you go. Yeah.
Perfect.
I just love it. It's just like we got the same Tails voice actor from Sonic Adventure 1. He's 35
Nice.
now. Something like that. I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be I don't know. I'm trying to think if I'm expecting it to be better or like not as good as the original, because like that's the thing. Do you think it won't be as good because like you're not going to be as pleasantly surprised as the first movie, kind of thing? Because like now you have expectations.
I mean, there are certain expectations there now, I guess, but I think there's a chance for it to be better.
Yeah, I think the end of the first movie implied that we're gonna see more of like the actual like more Sonic-ish world.
Yeah.
Just based on the fact that we have Robotnik looking more like Robotnik, and just the fact that you have Tails in there, and then you have like just the fact that Robotnik was in like kind of like a more
the Mushroom Hill where we had the echidnas before.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, okay, the second movie, my guess is main villain is Metal Sonic. Third movie, that's when they bring out Shadow. Like, or they might just push it, because Shadow is the most popular character. I've heard from several YouTubers, you put Shadow on your thumb, you're going to get a significant increase in views compared to anybody else.
That's funny.
Put it on. I'll put it on my Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics thumbnail. See how that goes. Yeah.
Now it's sad.
I don't know that. I mean, I don't doubt you, obviously, Derek, but that's hard for me to believe that people would be would have been more excited to see Shadow at the end of Sonic than Tails. Like, that's surprising.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying Shadow is that popular. Like Tails.
I thought you said he's the most popular. Oh, okay.
No, he's the most.
I was expecting it to go like the third movie is about Knuckles, and maybe fourth movie it goes back to it replicates Sonic 4 Episode 1. And then
they should just release them like the same way they did the Genesis games. We get Tails in the second movie, Knuckles in the third movie, then the fourth movie you kind of like just is another recut of the third movie with different characters in it.
Or the third movie is called Sonic the Hedgehog CD, and then
there we go. Oh yeah, there we go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That'll hit a chord with most audiences.
All right. Well, our last news story of the day is actually just a really quick PSA for those of you out there who are looking forward to Cyberpunk 2077. Please be aware that there are retail copies officially in the wild. There are pictures circulating out there of people who have Cyberpunk 2077. So, if you're looking forward to it and don't want to be spoiled, be careful and put on your internet blinders. And that's pretty much the long and short of it. Are you guys? I know. Well, Steve, I know you're going to review it, but are Derek and Scott, are you looking forward to Cyberpunk?
I have no time.
I hear that.
I mean, like it's going to be a good game.
Yeah,
I think. Mm-hmm. I'll probably pick it up on sale or something. I don't even know what I'm supposed to be playing right now. I think I'm playing Hyrule Warriors, I don't know.
I
don't know. I just haven't. I gotta wait till my winter break until I can actually play stuff again.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I want to play. I played a lot of Final Fantasy VII for somebody who probably shouldn't be playing Final Fantasy VII.
The remake?
Played like 5-6 hours. Yeah, I played the remake.
Nice.
I want to replay that on my new TV so much.
Yeah. I enjoyed my time with it enough, but I fell off of it when I don't know. I got busy, and now I'm like, that's gonna be tough to get back to. I played about an hour of Resident Evil 3, and I could probably and I only have like 30 minutes left apparently until I finish the game.
I was about to say.
Yeah, as I understand, that's about the whole game. Yeah. What I've heard.
I don't even know what I want to play next. The next time I have free time, I kind of want to play Pikmin 3 Deluxe, but I've already beat Pikmin 3, so I'm like, I don't know. It's a tough one to figure out. I have 300 NES games.
You got a lot to get through there.
Yeah.
I still need to finish
Origami
King.
These aren't for me, but I can try that. Yeah, I also Origami King. Like I liked it quite a bit, but I was also like
same.
Man, like that in the middle, it kind of drags a bit. So I was like, I'll get back to this later, So I'm like,
the Yellow Streamer chapter was where it kind of dragged for me, but then it really picks up again after that. And I'm in the Green Streamer chapter now, toward the end of the game, and I'm still just loving it. It's really blown away my expectations.
Yeah, the Yellow Streamer is like the desert area, right? Or like the
that's the desert.
The Shy Guy Bazaar kind of area.
Yeah,
that one dragged for me. Just because, like, I don't know, just scouring through the desert, I was like, God, like...
Same.
I don't know, but, I think I made it into, like, the temple area, but I haven't played for a couple months, so But I'm also,
then,
like,
after
I already
that,
put,
though...
like, 15 hours into it, so I'm like, man, do I just finish that, or do I play something else?
Oh, no, that's the RPG
Well, the thing that's cool about that,
conundrum.
though, is that once you do finish the Yellow Streamer chapter, it's followed up by one of the best chapters in the game, which is essentially a mini Wind Waker. The Purple Streamer chapter, they basically fit a mini Wind Waker Great Sea style experience in Origami King, and it's awesome.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
No, I think a lot of the criticism of that game was a little overblown for me personally. I was like, there wasn't any, I don't think there was anything egregiously offensive. At least with Color Splash, and I liked Color Splash. I think there were some egregiously offensive parts in that game. I'm just like, just the way you controlled it, I'm just like, this is disgusting. But Origami King, you don't really have that. The battle system, 100% could have used experience points. 100%.
Sure.
But, overall, I have a good time with it. I think it's a fun little thing.
Honestly, it's the best that modern Paper Mario has ever been. I really think this game has reached highs that the series hasn't seen for me personally since the Thousand Year Door. It's not as good as Thousand Year Door, but it gets surprisingly close in my opinion.
I agree with that.
And I haven't even
wonderful
finished
music.
it. Yeah.
Wonderful music. It looks
the
great.
music. The soundtrack's insane.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's just the weird thing with Paper Mario is I just find it so weird that they constantly try to reinvent the battle system when they don't want to put XP in there.
I know.
Because they're like, oh, well, we don't want to make this an RPG. Well, why are you doing turn-based combat then? Just make it like a fun little adventure game. You can just take it out and make it kind of like Secret of Mana, where it's just like, oh, you just kill them on the overworld and that's it. It's just weird. It's a weird direction.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that brings us to the end of our headlines, plus our miscellaneous discussion about so many other topics. So we've really covered a bunch of stuff today. But before we sign off, Scott, please tell our wonderful audience where they can find you.
Well, you can find me at Scott the Waz pretty much anywhere that kind of matters. So, just the regular social medias and whatnot. I'm doing a charity for merchandise for charity event right now that I'm very tired after figuring everything out with that. But I'm pretty sure if people already follow me, then they probably already know about that. But if you don't, I'm doing that, so you can look into that if you feel like it. We've already raised over $100,000 for charity, which is amazing.
That's awesome! Congratulations!
Yeah.
I'd love to
Thank
hear
you.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is
pretty.
amazing.
It's pretty wild.
I'm going to try my
awesome.
best to pick up your game. Like I've got the page bookmarked, and then I'm going to upload a long play of it. I'm just kidding.
It's a mystery. It's a mystery NES game, so it could be any of these. I just ran into my printer, so it could be any of these. You could get Adventures of Lolo or
that's a good
Garbage.
game.
So yeah.
Oh, yeah, great game.
It's up in the air.
So let me.
As
I was gonna say, let me know in the chat if you want me to pick up a copy, and I will definitely unbox and play whatever the hell it is.
Yeah,
Nice.
It's a fun one. You get a fun box. You get a fun double-sided poster, an instruction booklet, all of that. That was hell to go through. That was a lot of work.
I'm sure it was.
I bet.
And and also, thank you even more then for joining us today, since
Seriously.
you're already so exhausted from that whole experience. So, thank you again for joining us today, man. Yeah,
and I don't talk to anybody online, so this is a fun excuse. Yeah.
Well, that's all the
Well,
more
you're
reason to have you
welcome back on the
on,
show
yeah.
anytime. Exactly.
Of course, yeah. It was fun. I'm more than happy to do it whenever you guys want.
Yeah.
Well,
you can
thank
be
you very
our
much.
new,
We'll take you up on that.
E3 correspondent whenever E3 comes back.
And just
Yes,
each
exactly.
year make his mic
E3
just a little
previews.
bit better.
Yeah, just a bit.
I love
Just a
that's
bit.
one of my favorite. I'm horrible with audio anyway, so even if I tried to make the audio good, it will not be good.
That is super funny because one of the things, like I mentioned before we started streaming, even I was telling Scott that I watched, like, when I started doing videos, I kind of watched his videos as a frame of reference on how to make a good video.
Horrible
And
horrible audio advice.
I was gonna say, like, I think your videos sound really good. Like, I was
it's bad.
Apparently my
bad.
ears
It's
are broken.
horrible. Yeah.
I
think a lot of audio files. I think a lot of audio files. This is a joke, so don't take it seriously. But I think audio files don't really care until you tell them what you use. Like, I'm just like, oh yeah, I use a Blue Yeti microphone. They're like, no. If you didn't tell them you use a Blue Yeti, they're yeah. If you don't tell them you use a Blue Yeti, then they're gonna be like, oh, that sounds pretty good. And I'm like, oh, I use a Blue Yeti. Oh God, it's disgusting. Kind
That's
of thing.
so funny. Yeah, because are you really on a Blue Yeti? Is that what you're using?
Yes.
Well,
I don't know anything about audio. I'm horrible with audio.
That's
So I'm
really-
actually
I'm
going to
actually
suggest,
surprised to hear that.
Before we go any further, love the conversation. My internet seems to be struggling a bit because I just froze up for you guys.
Okay.
It'll be fine in the replay, but you guys are all frozen for a solid minute there.
Plus, my AirPods are about to die, so let me go ahead
Go for
and
it,
do this outro,
go for
then
it.
we'll
Yeah.
keep chatting. So, Before we sign off, as always, we have to profusely thank all of our patrons at the producer tier and above for helping to make this show happen, because it would not be happening without every single one of you. In addition, a massive thank you to our patrons at the executive producer tier and above. And those awesome folks include Rob Arman X, Dan Entwistle, Z Patty, Adam O'Sullivan, Floating Mew, Christopher, The D-Pad, Vesmio, OnStar, Dukemon, Diogo, Kieran Phillips, Benny Yao, Rosa Bowling, aka Mama Bowling.
Hi, Mom.
Geller, Shiny Turkey, Titus Malvolio, Jake Pelka, Michael Phone, Mitchell Herring, Top Dog 23100, Jay Acosta, Game Explain, Charles Saz, and Andrew Medeiros. So thank you all so much for helping to make this show happen. And remember, you too can become a patron over at patreon.com/gvgaming, where you can watch today's News Tonight live for as little as $5 a month. So it's not very much. You can also support us at as low as $1 a month if you'd like. So, but whether you're supporting us on Patreon or not, or if you're just watching the VOD versions of this, thank you so much for watching the show and being in our audience and caring about what we do. And we'll see you tomorrow for the next episode of Today's News Tonight. So until then, good night and good vibes, everybody.